Sinner's done it again. Winner, winner, Sinner's dinner. Wins his third major at the Australian Open, second Australian Open, and kind of dog walks Alexander Zverev in the final. So I was wrong in my prediction, and I'm going to address that. I'm going to talk about what I think Zverev did poorly, what do you think he could have done better, but really, Jannik Sinner is the number one player in the world, and he is, I think, the standard going forward at the Australian Open. He's the new Djokovic in Melbourne Park, and he's definitely now the king of Melbourne down under. So wins his second Australian Open, amazing fashion. Yeah, just too freaking good on this surface to be touched right now. So we'll see if anyone can do that going forward. But let's break down this match and what it means for Jannik Sinner's career. Here's the slice presented by Betway. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's 4 a.m. here in Canada, and I'm cold. That's why I'm wearing a toque. So some of you, we call it a toque here. We don't call it a beanie. I don't know what else anyone else would call it. This is called a toque. But if you're not here as a subscriber, please subscribe. Thanks for your support all the way through the Australian Open. We've had a great end to it. Madison Keys winning in epic fashion. The match today was not an epic, but Jannik Sinner wins in dominant fashion, showing why he's the best player in the world. So I'm super happy for him. I'm super happy for all the Italian fans. Sinner, like I said on Twitter, is just an absolute epitome of a class act. Lets the haters, lets the talkers talk, lets his game have the final word. And today he had it. And I don't even think he really played his best tennis today, but it was still just way too good for what Zverev had. So yeah, very impressive performance. Super, reminds me of why that was, let's just talk about it. That was a bad pick by me, I think, to predict Zverev to win. And you know what? It was risky. And I will say I was willing to take more of a risk because I was on a 5-match win streak. So for the haters who are here, I know you're already watching saying, I told you I'm coming back here to, shove it down your throat. Fair enough. But the last 5 picks I did that won were I picked Djokovic to beat Medvedev for the 2023 US Open final. I picked Sinner to beat Djokovic in the semifinals last year in Australia Open. It hit. I picked Alcaraz to beat Sinner in Roland Garros last year. It hit. I chose Alcaraz to beat Djokovic at the final of Wimbledon. It hit. I chose Sinner to beat Fritz. It hit. So, yeah, I've learned my lesson to pick against Sinner on a hard court in a major final. Probably won't be doing that again anytime soon, but we'll see. But yeah, it was not an epic match today, and we were hoping for a better final than this. But Sinner did his part, but Zverev didn't really do his part. So we're going to get into the minutia of that. And like, to me, there's a game style choice from Zverev that I think was not optimal for his chances. So I'll talk about what I think he should have done in that aspect. Let's first break down the stats from the match. So 6-3, 7-6, 6-3. 2 hours and 42 minutes. Fairly uneventful from that stage. Straight sets in a major final. You hate to see it. It is between the number 1 player in the world and the number 2 player in the world. So yeah, again, stay to the end. I'm going to talk about what this victory means for Sinner going forward and give hope to Zverev and talk about really the positives from this going forward. But here's the stats. 12 aces to 6 for Zverev. 68% first serves in from Zverev, but he only wins 69% of those points. Not, it's not horrible, but it's not great. But it's probably actually where you would have thought it would be. But on the other hand, Sinner wins 84% of his first serve. Just a dominant first serve performance. More probably based on how well he played behind a serve rather than the actual serving of it, just from the eye test. But he also wins 63% of his second serve. So just definitely clearly wins the serve battle there between the two of them. Winners to unforced errors, 32 winners for Sinner to 27 unforced errors, 25 winners for Zverev, which 12 of those were aces, 45 unforced errors. Here's the big one. 2 out of 10 break points converted for Sinner, so he didn't even really capitalize as much as he could have. And 0 out of 0 for Zverev. 0 break points forced. And here's an interesting one. 77% net points won for Sinner and 52% for Zverev, 27 times at the net. That'll be big as we talk about it. Yeah, rally analysis. Let's look at that. I always like to do that. The short points. Sinner has the slight lead, 51-46. 5 to 8 shot rallies. He had the slight leads, 27-23. And then 9+ shot rallies, he had the huge advantage, 29 points to 14 points. So, yeah, fairly comprehensive match there. I guess let's walk through it in the first 2 sets, because that's where this match really got won and lost, obviously. Set one, Zverev got a ton of first serves in, 81% in, but only won 62% of those. So he was facing pressure on his first serve immediately in set one. And, it was okay, 3-3, 4-3, and then Zverev's serving again. Sinner gets ahead early in that game, and then finally breaks. And it was a bit of a set that kind of looked like it was trundling towards maybe a tiebreak. But that game, Sinner got a hold of it and broke. And we started to see early actions from Zverev in the set that made me worry if I was cheering for Zverev, which I wasn't. I didn't care who won. But I had picked Zverev to win. And my thoughts going into this match was that from the baseline, he can hang with Sinner. But he needs to be sure of his identity there. He needs to be strong from the baseline, being aggressive when it's there, picking his shots. But throughout his career, he's never been a guy that comes forward a lot and is aggressive in that way. So people are always like, be more aggressive, come to the net. Well, if you're not good at the net, don't come to the net when you aren't in a great position. And I started to see in the first set, he would hit approach shots that were okay, and then he would come to the net, and he was getting past, and he was hitting poor volleys. And I don't hate the play coming forward, but if you can do well at the net, then good. And you're gonna have to get past if you're gonna be aggressive and come to the net. So I don't have a problem with that per se. But I think he was coming to the net too much, because that's not his game style, and it's Sinner on a hard court is just giving him a target is deadly. He can get to everything. So I would have liked him to play solid from the baseline, miss less, and wait for the moments to come to him from the baseline to take his backhand cross court or down the line, and do what he did have success with, which was hurting Sinner from those positions in the court. So I feel like coming into the net to be aggressive just for the sake of being aggressive did not pay off for him in the first set or the second set. And yeah, so in the first set, if you look at the net points, yeah, he came to net 10 times and only won 5 of those points. I think some of those were pretty important points. Sinner, on the other hand, his forehand to forehand difference there was one of the biggest things in this match. The forehand dominance from Sinner was truly remarkable. And we knew that Zverev's forehand side was the weaker side, but it was pretty crazy to see the contrast of how much better Sinner was on his forehand than Zverev. So he was going cross court, forehand to forehand all day long. He loved that. And then Zverev would try and go down the line when he could to get out of that pattern, to get into Sinner's backhand, to get back to his backhand. And then he would miss, be late, and it didn't work. So that was a theme throughout the match, that Sinner was able to lean in the forehand dominance, put pressure on Zverev right away. So this match was, I also said that going into it, physically, is Zverev can make this match really physical and make it into a dogfight. We'll see. And people were posting on Twitter during the match, Sinner's never won a Grand Slam match more than 4 hours. I don't even believe any more than 3.5 hours. So if Zverev could have got it there, you never know. And to be clear, Sinner's level started to drop in the second set. And after a couple tight service games that Zverev had to work out of in the beginning of the second set, he then started to hold more easily than Sinner really. Still never got a break point, but it went to the tiebreaker. And I guess, in my head, I was thinking if Zverev can win this long set and make this match get longer and more physical, let's see where Sinner goes physically. Let's see what type of match this turns into. But I think Zverev got a little bit of bad luck, to be honest, at the end of this set. So I believe it was Sinner was serving to get it to a tiebreaker, I believe, and yeah, he was serving to get it to the tiebreaker, and it was 30-all. So Zverev and Sinner play a huge rally there, and I believe Sinner came to net. Sinner lobbed him. He got it. Anyways, big rally, and then Zverev was in a pretty good place, hit a forehand up the line, and then came in behind it. Kind of again where he wasn't a great approach shot. Sinner hits him with a good passing shot. Zverev doesn't do enough with the volley at all, and then gets passed. And I was like, why did you come to the net there? That's not really your game there. I know he was tired from that rally. It was like a 30-ball rally, so I don't really blame him there. But digging in mentally and just letting the game come to you in those moments is probably what you need to do. And he didn't do it, and he lost that point. And then in the tiebreaker at 5-all, I believe, there was a massive let court from Sinner, who hit the net in a way that the ball should have just stayed on his side, but it flopped over, gets the clean winner from that, or not clean winner, and then hits a clean winner on the next ball to end the set. And right there, it was a tight tiebreak. It was a very tight set, and if it had gone Zverev's way, I feel like it could have been a completely different match. But it went Sinner's way. He won it with probably his C+ tennis that set, even though he did have great. He won. I don't think he lost a point on his first serve until like maybe the tiebreaker. So he did great behind his first serve, but that's how good he is. He's able to win that set with probably his B or C+ game, wins it, and then I think the match was kind of over from there. There was, in my head, I think I tweeted, Zverev should be physically fine to go the distance here, but he didn't look mentally fine. He looked flat. He looked super disappointed from that tiebreaker and from not getting that second set. And then that's just a recipe for disaster, because Sinner's way too good to let you feel sorry for yourself. Sinner pounced. Sinner started to dominate more with the forehand. He got that second wind himself, and he was able to carry that through, break, and get the third set. So 3 sets straight. The second set was where it was kind of won and lost for Zverev. He didn't have like the mental fortitude. I don't think that I thought that he might have from the previous 2 matches, which is why I picked him. I think if he did, he could have made this a much better match. So yeah, I was wrong. Happy to say it. And Zverev, huge congrats to him. 3rd major at 23 years old, 2nd Australian Open. So yeah, as I said, he's the guy to beat in Australia now. He's going to be the player there. I don't know how many majors he's going to win down under. If he's healthy, if he doesn't get suspended in April, between 5 to 10 seems very reasonable to me as far as majors that he'll win in Australia. Yeah, unbelievable player, so well-rounded, so good now with his serve, with his return, with his forehand, with his backhand, with his every part of his game is so undeniably great. Yeah, that's amazing to watch. And on this surface, it's meant for him. So he's absolutely the best player in the world right now, and absolutely the best player on the surface. I will say though, outside of this surface, like people are going crazy. They're like, he's far and away the best player in the world. He's far and away he is probably the best player in the world right now on a hard court. Carlos Alcaraz to me is still a better player on grass or clay than him, and he doesn't have the points to show it, but he's right there. So this is an interesting graphic. The big title chase. This is from the ATP Tour. Sinner gets his 3rd slam, so now he's up to 8 in the big titles, and Alcaraz is at 9. So these are going to be the 2 guys going forward, who are, and we all know this, who are going to be dominating tennis. And we're just so lucky to see it. It's the question for me was, will somebody else like Zverev be able to win the Australian Open here and join the group of young guys that are winning majors? No, not yet. Anyways, so Sinner wins, 3 majors for him, 4 for Alcaraz, and they are the 2 kings of the ATP Tour. That's for sure. So yeah, anyways, amazing win for Sinner. He's through, and he'll be playing next. I don't know, either maybe Dubai or Acapulco. I don't know, but he'll be in Indian Wells, Miami, and he'll look to continue his dominance on the hard court. So let's talk about Zverev now. Zverev's gonna, he was clearly super disappointed by this performance in the final, I think. I think he could have played better. Like I said, I think he shouldn't have come to the net as much as he did. I think he could have held his nerve a little bit better in some moments. But other than that, it's Sinner's best surface. Yeah, it's probably not the major that he's going to win if he's there. But he's doing all the right things. And if you're asking me, do you think Zverev's going to win a major this year? I'm probably like pretty confident that he can or will. I don't know, but he's coming into this match. He's done all the right things. He got himself to number 2 in the world by playing an amazing 2024. Okay, now he's been in the final again of a major for the last. Out of the last 4 majors, he's been in 2 finals. So if you keep putting yourself there as the number 2 player in the world, making major finals, a major is going to eventually come. The French Open's the next one. He has a way better chance at the French Open than he does at the Australian Open. He's great on clay. He was there last year. His biggest rival at the French might be Carlos Alcaraz rather than Jannik Sinner or Djokovic. So yeah, that's a different beast, of course, but he was closer there in the French Open final last year than he was in Australia this year. So he's doing all the right things. And if you're Zverev, you got to keep your head held high and keep doing what you've been doing. Keep playing as the number 2 player in the world. Keep putting yourself there. And you got to think it's going to come. But today was not it. He did not have it. Sinner's too good on the day and too good on the surface probably in general. So congrats to Sinner. Huge congrats to Sinner. I don't know why some people think I'm a Sinner hater just because I picked someone else. It's a prediction. I was wrong. Sinner was right. And he's got 3 majors. And that's all from the slice now. I'm going to go get some sleep. I'm going to take the day off tomorrow. And we will see you guys next time on Monday or Tuesday, really, when that comes out with the podcast with JP recapping all the action. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing. We'll see you next time on the show.